Is there any discussion to look at textbook pricing, that flat fee, to be based more according to majors? Because I can speak to the fact that my textbooks usually, like, it's just one class has a textbook at this point. Like, most of my professors have gone online because of the issue of textbooks being so expensive. And so I'll just have one professor, and usually it's about $70. So I think, like, some majors, all of their classes are textbook, and I completely understand that flat fee, and I think it's amazing. But for myself and some of my other fellow senators, I think it is kind of, feels a little bit like price gouging a little bit.
So I will say that is something that the faculty as a group were very concerned about when we moved to the immediate access one, that we didn't want some students to be subsidizing textbooks for other students. And so we talked to the bookstore about that, and we were hoping for an opt-in. We were hoping for an opt-in model, right? So you could opt in, but I guess it was much cheaper to do an opt-out model. But we talked to the bookstore, and they said, we'll let students know if they're going to have fees below $259, so that they know it's in their best interest to opt out. That's what we were told. So this is great hearing that that's not the case, and that hopefully we can address that with them.
It is a microphone. Okay, this looks fancy. David Peters. I am in the sociology department representing the Ag and Rural Policy Studies major. So 2 comments. I think one thing we can do as faculty senators is maybe draft some suggested syllabus statements on, I know I put that in my syllabi, of how you exactly opt out, particularly for incoming students. It's a little unclear, but maybe be very clear up front as faculty to make sure that, I usually say that the book can be usually got cheaper on Amazon or any other kind of bookseller. So I think that's one thing we could do, have a suggested syllabus statement that faculty can include. And secondly, you know, I am curious about doing these open educational resources, but it's always about time. So I think one thing administration can do is incentivize faculty to do that for their sabbatical or the FDPR, you know, our sabbatical. That would be priority given, and maybe even a little bit of seed money to encourage faculty to take a sabbatical to develop an online book. I think that would be a great way to incentivize it a little bit, because for most of us, we're busy already, and just if it's a side gig for us, we're never going to be able to do it. But just if you're gone for the semester, that'd be a great way to kind of encourage more of these. And being it online, then students can access it even when they're out in their careers and get updates. So I think there's a lot of advantage to these online resources. Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to our next topic, which is AI in the classroom. So aligning faculty and student expectations on AI use at Iowa State while protecting academic integrity and preparing students for AI integrated careers. And so I open discussion on that.
Sorry, I'm not used to using this kind of microphone. So my name is Riker Marcus. I'm a off-campus sender currently. I'm an agricultural education major, so one of the things that we have to do is a lot of observation hours. I currently have 50 observation hours in the classroom, and I've learned from the faculty and staff at the high schools I've been to that they are integrating AI in a lot of ways. One of the ways that I think is really cool is any student with like a 504 or an IEP, they have AI built so that way a teacher can input their lesson plan, and then the AI gives them a lesson plan geared towards that student to accommodate for them. And I think that's really cool. But then I've also seen like the unfortunate side of AI, which we heard a little bit about, where it's, you know, students are using it to do assignments for them, and some educators are even using it to just build assignments for them, and it's not what the class used to be. It's not entirely showing what educators want them to learn in every aspect, and it's not what the students want to learn for their careers later. I'm just interested, is there anyone who has any comments from the faculty side of things on if you think AI is better used to support things, like better used to to help students or to like help make assignments and things, or if you're more on the side of you think it should just kind of be pushed away and we should continue to do things without AI because it is better for educating.
I'll say something about it. Well, with the Senate, Student Senate, we're running the AI competition, right? The way I look at it, from my perspective, this is the future. Okay, when we didn't even have computers or calculators. The world is changing. So you are entering the world, it's going to be AI. Just today, just before coming to class, I was reading Brad Pitt and what is the other famous actor? They had a fighting scene, it's so realistic, from ByteDance AI program. So the Hollywood is worried that they may lose their jobs, right? All those people who do that. That's where it is going, whether we like it or not. We can, if you want to put all the firewalls and all that to restrict, but when we go out in the real world, it's going to be different. We have to learn how to go into that world, how to live in that world, work in that world, right? For you, I'm retiring. I'm close by. I'm very close, you know. So it's not for me, it's for you guys. So that's why we started this AI competition. We want every student to get exposed to AI, learn, be ready to go to the world. Okay, so that's my 2 cents.
I completely agree. So I'm an education major at Iowa State, and we are taught that AI is being integrated in the classroom, and that they use it to help formulate lesson plans, to help adjust lesson plans to each individual student. And I think it's a scary thing. I don't use AI ever, and so I think educating the students about how to use AI properly is a big thing. I couldn't tell you how to use anything AI related. I just don't think, personally, I don't gravitate towards it because my major is so like hands-on, like learning how to do things at like, anyways. But I think finding a way to incorporate it while steering away from cheating and all that stuff, but using it in the future, because in my profession, it'll be useful to help change lesson plans and to adapt it to each student.
My name is Josie. I would like to agree with the student that came to Open Forum. I've experienced a lot of frustration with applications like PackBack, where it kind of feels like you're putting things into the void just to do it. Your professor isn't looking at it, and your classmates are just writing something down in 5 minutes to get it done. It's really pointless, and it's graded by AI anyway, so there's not really a point to do well on it. I personally benefit more from feedback from my professors specifically and not from an application. That's why I came to college to learn from those individuals, and I definitely see it as an issue.
I'm Darrell Holkamp, professor in veterinary diagnostic production animal medicine and president-elect of the Faculty Senate. I want to say I'm very encouraged to hear the concerns you have and the caution you're going into this with, because there's, in my lifetime, and I'm a little younger than Ronald, but in my lifetime, it started with a calculator.
that's how my life was. But when we got on, it's a slow moving vehicle, you can say. We got on, it was just 5 miles an hour or 2 miles an hour, then picked up speed and we got, I remember line printers we used to go and we had the cards, I had the card reading computer. This is like bullet train came. The AI. I mean, we were not ready, it just came in. God knows what the heck is happening, So we're all learning. So faculty has to learn too. I mean, to teach you how to do well. We all have to learn. I think it's just maybe a few years before it all settles down.
Okay, so my name is Rishinaldo, and I'm studying data science, and a lot of my classes are code heavy and heavy on learning how to build these models. And none of my classes and none of my professors personally encourage the use of AI because they don't think that it's going to help us learn anything. It's going to hinder our learning to build like algorithms, and essentially we treat these models on like Claude and ChatGPT like glorified chatbots rather than tools to help us learn. It's just a way of brainstorming instead of using them as a tool. That's what all of my classes teach me, especially one of my classes that was computer science based on data and algorithms. We still do our exams by pen and paper for code and not computers. So that's my 2 cents.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, it helps you learn the basis of the algorithms more. That's what I did in high school as well, wrote my code on pen and paper. I know it's a bit old that some people consider, but I feel like it helps you get the basics of the concepts so much more than you might ask ChatGPT to help you learn it.
Probably going to regret saying this, but I have a son who has been out now for 6 years. He's computer science degree from Iowa State University, and he works for a financial company. Writes a lot of the regulatory software and things like that. So I keep telling him he's got to learn something else, because I think he's going to be out of a job in 5 years. And I haven't convinced him that yet. I don't know if I should have told you that or not, but that's the way I feel.
Yeah, but what I feel is what I've heard from my faculties for computer science and data science is AI could not do the work that humans do. It might help supplement it, but not completely do it, because since all the code these companies write, they're very different, and if you use just an AI to do it, they're never going to be correct. It's very big probability of them breaking down if there's no human to it.
This will be my last. Yeah, I think I absolutely agree with that, but I also think that, again, about probably 5 to 10 years, the people that are remaining are going to be the ones that know how to use AI to do the job more efficiently. Probably they'll be doing the job of 10 to 20 programmers today, right? One person will do that. I think, is that my
I think in your point, you and I were doing it. I'll copy the code from the AI and just post it. I don't know what the heck it is doing. I hope I may get some numbers. I may understand a little bit. But you, on the other hand, will know what it should be. So for you, I think that's essential to understand the stuff. Is it necessary for everyone? That's a question you ask.
Can I ask the students a question? So we get emails every day from like national publications about higher ed, and it's geared towards faculty, and every day the Chronicle has something about AI in it, it seems. And so one of the articles that I read maybe a couple weeks ago, it was about Sway. It's an AI tool. Have any of you used that or heard of it? It's in beta right now, I guess, but their slogan is talk more, fight less. Sway is a chat platform that connects students with differing perspectives into one-on-one conversations and facilitates better discussions between them. It's based on this radical view that engaging with opposing perspectives is an essential tool for improving reasoning and solving complex problems. And so this tool creates an online space and it helps, I think, scaffold and like guide conversation, as particularly when people are disagreeing and coming at it from two different perspectives. So I didn't know if, I'm kind of interested in this, and I don't know if any of you had heard of it or used it, or maybe I'm far behind the curve, or maybe I'm not, I don't know.
This isn't going to be a response to that, but I just wanted to ask my own question. So my name is Bain Bernal. I'm currently a senator for the residence halls, and so in my previous semester, I had a class where for every midterm, the professor was like, you can completely use AI on it. It can do all the work for you. He even said that there's some different AIs that could just completely do multiple choice Canvas quizzes by themselves. And so I'm wondering, is that very much diminishes the point of tests. It tests your knowledge and tests what you know and what you've learned throughout the previous week. So I'm just wondering, where does faculty draw the line at the use of AI in their teachings or how students use it?
It really varies, right? I mean, it really varies, and I think it is a reckoning for instructors, not just in higher ed, but in K-12 as well, to think about, okay, what is it that we want our students to learn, and how do we go about doing that? And nobody's teaching us. So, and the senator right next to you had asked a similar question, like how do we make those decisions, or what do faculty think? We have over 1,000 faculty, and it really depends on the concept you're wanting the students to learn. It depends on the topic. It depends on the thing you're wanting to do. Are you wanting them to take a multiple choice test just to test and see where they're at, or are you wanting them to like write an entire paper? And so I can't. None of us can give a blanket answer because it is so dependent on so many different factors. Yeah.
Okay, I know
So,
we've. Oh.
actually, may I say something? Michael Olson, professor of mechanical engineering, and I am the faculty senate president-elect. This kind of segues into our next discussion topic, but a lot of where this goes requires your input and your feedback. Every semester, at the end of the semester, you get a class climate survey. And one of the things that we discuss a lot at the faculty senate is the return rates on those are abysmal. Okay? Maybe 30%, 25% lower. They're really bad. All of your faculty here, I don't think I speak just for myself, we want you all to succeed. We are professors because we love students, and we want you to learn. And that is the goal. Your goal when you're taking a class is not the grade that you get. The grade is a reflection on what you learn. And so, as you fill out those climate surveys, don't just fill out the bubbles. There's questions. What is the professor doing well? What is the professor not doing well? Take the time to give us that feedback. We care. We read that. I spend a lot of time reading those comments, and I try to implement that as much as possible. For myself, I would never teach a class where a student can use AI to do the assignment or take the test, because that defeats the purpose of why you're taking the class. It can be a great learning tool. I would not mind if I teach, the class I usually teach is fluid mechanics. So is anybody here a mechanical engineer? Have you had me as a professor? Okay. Anyway.
Get ready.
Yeah. No, you'll like me. I don't know. If you don't, say in the class climate survey. All the exams I give are pencil and paper. All the homeworks that I give are pencil and paper. We have lab reports. You type those up. Okay? AI can be a tool or it can be a crutch. Think of ways to use it as a tool. If you're taking my class and you're struggling with a concept, you can use AI to say, tell me more about this. And it will give you information, maybe even design a little lesson plan for you to understand Bernoulli's equation or something like that. Using it as a tool is very different than using it as a crutch, than saying, here's a problem my professor gave me, what's the answer, right? But we need that feedback. We're like was said, we're learning how to navigate the classroom with AI just like you are. Let's learn together. So please, and spread the word. You guys have a voice. Spread the word that these climate surveys, it's not just a thing we send you, busy work. It is really important. And when topics like this come up, as much feedback as you can give us as to what works, what doesn't work, what you want to see, what you don't want to see, what you hope to accomplish, share that with us.
Before we leave this topic, I want to come back to what our colleague over here said. Our education major, and she used the term using AI properly. So what the hell does properly mean? Nobody knows. I would want to substitute that term properly for the term ethically. And the problem is we don't have people broadly trained in the faculty who can relate the ethics involved with this new technology and how it's supposed to relate to our role as educators and our roles as students. So the problem now is, how do we manage that? So Iowa State's already on top of this. The Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies, they are already developing courses in the ethics of the use of artificial intelligence. Professor Anne-Marie Butler is developing courses that, if you have an interest in this, keep your eyes open for future registration periods. This is coming down to the point where we have people who are trained in ethics, who are trained in relating artificial intelligence with social issues, with scientific applications, using it as a tool versus using it, as Michael said, as a crutch. And the biggest concern we have is the role of AI circumventing our role as instructors, where students get around what we're intending to take them mentally and with our curriculum to develop your own skills, to be analytical, to function in your discipline. If you're using AI as a tool to get around that, that's, to me, is an ethical violation of why you're here, and in fact might even be an ethical violation of the student code. So that's something I think everybody should be thinking about. Not just it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, it's a tool. It's how we relate as humans using that tool in our society, and as some people, I think Darryl said, use it for good and not evil.
I know we've been talking about this for a really long time. I'll be so fast, I promise. This kind of like meshes all of the points that have just been said. First and foremost, this way, I think that kind of diminishes the area we have established on this campus of the free speech zone. We come to this college to learn, but we also come to this college to develop as we are and have civic discussion and to develop as a person. And hard conversations, they're supposed to be hard. They're supposed to be hard, and you can lose friends and you can make friends, and you're supposed to agree and disagree, and that's why a lot of us are these student governments and faculty senate. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think using AI to form those relationships is a bit discouraging to me. Another concern I have, which segues into improving student success, is that we're seeing people use these AI platforms as a way to form relationships, and it's causing AI psychosis, and that's really alarming to me. And I would hate to see that happen to our students. Mental health is a huge issue on this campus, and that's definitely not going to help. So yeah, I think that's all I have. But yeah, let's talk about improving student success.
All right, so we'll move into our final topic, improving student success. You can see the prompt there, and I guess we can begin discussing that.
Okay, so first of all, Dr. Wallace is my favorite professor of all time, and I'm in my 4th class with him, and the reason I'm in yet another class with him is not because of his charming personality, but because of how he prepares us for our careers. So a lot of the times he will have us write a paper, it might be 15, 20 pages about a specific group or specific taxon that we're interested in, and that helps me as a scientist hone my ability to write as a scientist, and the feedback that he gives us has been really helpful. And so I think that those kind of things You know, if you're in a science field and you might be writing research papers, having those opportunities to write research papers and have professors grade those is something that I find really helpful and really makes me feel hopeful for my success.
I have a professor this semester, and she teaches the blocks, so it's method courses, and she really encourages students in our class to disagree with her and have that discourse with her, and I think it's a really, my class is like 20 people large, so like obviously this doesn't work for big lecture halls, but I think it's a really important part to have a clear communication with the professor, and she encourages us to have discourse with her. If we don't agree with something, we can talk to her about it. This class has really opened my eyes to like having discussions with people I disagree with and discussing that out. So I think it relates to the eighth sway. I think having a chatbot that you can develop a relationship with to disagree with or like improve conversation with discourse is terrible. I feel like you should talk to a person in person. That's how you learn to speak to people and disagree with them and communicate, because you can't communicate with an AI chatbot. I think that's just terrible, in my opinion.
I have another classroom experience I'd like to share. I am a political science major, and most of my classes are taught with the Socratic method, and I've found it extremely helpful in growing who I am as a communicator and for my future career. I think it's going to be really helpful for me to be successful in law school and learn how to speak and argue for myself. So I'd really encourage professors to use models that are less PowerPoint heavy and more engaging with the students. I also know that the classes that I stay awake the most in and that I'm engaged and excited to go to are the ones where professors are engaging with students and students are engaging with each other, and it's not just a PowerPoint that we're all staring at.
I just want to jump in. I know we had really good discussion about AI, and then I looked at the next point and saw work ready. Kind of molding and mixing the 2 points between AI in the classroom and student success. You know, we talked about writing code on paper. We talked about AI chatbots and building your personality or your stance on a variety of issues. What has industry buy-in been look like, or what industry specific feedback has come, or even accreditation through AI? Has there been conversations on that? Faculty, what do you think?
Ag and Biosystems Engineering, representing agricultural and life sciences at large. My department has a task force that is working, a 5-person task force on AI. They developed a list of competencies related to AI and are now working on integrating them with our program learning outcomes so that each class has some exposure to AI, different aspects of it. We recognize we're a little bit out front here because there's not anything that we can draw from. We actually can't use AI to find AI competencies, or I guess we could, but we're not gonna. And I'm not on the task force, but I'm on our curriculum committee, and we review those competencies for validity. And when we go through accreditation this spring, we will talk to our accrediting body about those competencies as well. So I speak only for Ag and Biosystems Engineering. I don't know what everyone else is doing, but that's what we're doing.
Sure, thank you.
Hi everyone, is this working? Yeah. Okay, hi everyone, my name is Ella Ainodimov. I'm representing the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and I'm a political science major. So right now I'm in my final semester here at Iowa State, so I've been on the job search currently, and I will say on the subject of AI, it's very difficult to not find a job or like option that is asking you to have some kind of experience within the subject of AI. And so I will say I think that Iowa State's moving in the correct direction, developing these AI courses to teach students how to really utilize it as a tool and how to properly and ethically use it. I think that I can see right now these courses are nearly completely full, all 4 sections, and there's 2 different courses. So I think the development of this subject will really benefit students when it comes to going out into the workforce in these upcoming years, because AI is so new. For instance, we don't know what Sway is. Sway is just another example. There's Salesforce. There's so many new ones coming out each year. It's so hard to keep up with. So really educating our students on the correct platforms and how to utilize it, I think, is the correct direction.
Just a quick thing here off of the on the topic of student success, just off of the first few things we heard on this topic. I think most of it kind of stems back to you having that professor support, having that professor who gives you their actual feedback on your assignments, on presentations, on things like that. I feel like that's definitely a very big part of student success, is getting feedback from the people that are educating us. Like, that really helps all of the people I know. I would say one of the other things is obviously those smaller class sizes, you know, anywhere from 15 to 30 people. And everybody understands not all classes can be like that, unfortunately, because there is classes, you know, everybody has to take. And without making them, you know, those big lectures, not everybody would get to take them. People wouldn't graduate on time. So, but those smaller classes, the more major specific ones, I feel like most majors, or all the majors I can think of, they say, you know, they have those 10 to 30 person classes, and those are some of the classes they learn most in. From the faculty side of things, is there any way that we could try to gear some of those more like even like 200 level courses into those smaller classes instead of like the more major specific ones that you'll take like 300 and 400 level? Is there any way to make those classes smaller or any way like that?
David Peters, sociology. I don't know if this would work, but I've always been a big fan of trying to make efficient use of the PowerPoint lectures online. So for example, we have a lack of classroom space. So one thing you could do is, and the registrar doesn't currently allow us to do that, either has to be totally online or some combo. So what I prefer is to have, when you have to go through a lecture of concepts, that could be done online, and then a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class could always be in person, like a recitation section. You could divide the class in thirds. You have one group come in Monday, another group come Wednesday, another group come in Friday, and then you kind of get that face-to-face, one-on-one Socratic method. I think that'd be a very efficient use, because yeah, no one wants to spend their 50 minutes going through a lecture, but you do need it. I mean, you do need the concepts, you do need the information, but it seems to be a waste of sitting in a classroom, a waste of classroom space. That's one way I would do that, and having the registrar allow that more formally to say, lectures are online, but you have to take either a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday and register in that for your 50 minutes. So that's point one. Point two, I'll say, with generally student success, I know there's a push from the administration to have 3-year accelerated programs. I think that's a bad idea in this day and age. Just having a college degree with no internship experience or no broader experience is a way to get your degree quickly and spend that extra year being underemployed. I would focus on keeping that 4-year degree, making sure that 4th year is full of experiential learning, internships. I know Colby, President Brandt is doing a lot of work in Des Moines and in DC. So I think having that out of classroom, out of campus experience is very helpful for your future. Something else I was going to say on that, but I think that gets, yeah, that's most of it. Thank you.
I wanted to make a quick point. So, my freshman year, my fall semester, I took Anthropology 201, and that was probably my most favorite class. It was a huge lecture hall, and we had a recitation. I felt really seen by the person that taught recitation, and we had that class community where we could just like talk with each other and discuss the material. But I also love the big lecture halls. I don't know, maybe it's just a teacher in me that like likes to pay attention and all that stuff, but I feel like I learn the best when I'm sitting in the chair listening to a professor speak, not necessarily like read off the slide, but I feel like I can't watch lecture videos on my computer. I get distracted too much. I have a million messages coming at my computer. Even if I turn a serve on, I feel like my roommates are bothering me. Doesn't matter. I learn best sitting in a chair, listening to my professor speak to me. And so it might not work for everyone, but I'm a fan of in-person learning. We all spent a year with COVID, a year or two, on doing WebEx, and as much as it was convenient at the time, it wasn't beneficial for every learner and every student. So having those options would definitely be great to have those Monday, Wednesday come in, but I know for myself, sitting in a chair and listening to the professor speak to me and tell their story through lecturing is better for me.
Okay, I don't think we're going to have time for open discussion today, but I just wanted to thank you all so much for coming today. It really means a lot to us. This is our second one of these we've ever had, so obviously we're still learning a lot about how this should be run and how we're going to do all of these in the future. So if you have any feedback from me, student government, I'm going to figure out a way for you all to be able to send that to me through a Google form or something. But faculty senate, always feel free to shoot me an email with feedback. I'm very open to it. I don't take criticism too hard, so I would love if you would do that. And then also, with the whole skipping open discussion and everything, the point of meetings like this, specifically this one, is to open discussion. It's not when the meeting is closed, discussion is also closed. I hope that there's been some connections that have been made today, some ideas that have come to light, and that going forward we can continue these discussions.
Yes, well, thank you again for being here today. Really what I had to say was, one thing that I really love about Iowa State is how willing faculty is to work with students and students are to work with faculty, and I think tonight really proved that point. So thank you again for being here. Really great conversations and a lot of really forward-thinking and impactful solutions for issues that students are facing. And Rachel stole my thunder a little bit, but yes, continue building those relationships and talking to each other. I think that's the most important way to get things accomplished for everyone on campus. But thank you all again, and go Cyclones.
No, that's okay. We can end. We can end. That was very good. Just to say thank you all for coming. And I will hope we can do this again next year. I've been taking notes. I also sent the link to the affordability dashboard to them so that they can send that out to you. The answer to somebody's question is business is the most expensive with the textbooks, Ivy College business. And then also, I think we can't do much about, well, AI is just a perennial question, but I think we can do something about the bookstore. I think we can do that, or at least try our best, so I've got that. Yeah, so thank you all, and hopefully we can do this again. This was helpful. Yeah.